which is a companion to the Satanic Bible, Masonic orders have contained the most influential men in many governments, and virtually every occult order has many Masonic roots. This is why. Because the Satanic ritual is a blend of Gnostic, Kabbalistic, Hermetic, and Masonic elements. That's crazy, because Freemasonry is a blend of Gnostic, Kabbalistic, and Hermetic elements. There are numerous manifestations of Satanism in Masonic ritual, including the goat, the coffin, and the death's head. The companion to the Satanic Bible tells us that as well. By filling the world with fools. Freemasonry and Satanism are intertwined. Look at these Masonic politicians throwing up the devil's horns. George W. Bush. Now, you want to see who they work for? The Lucius Trust has consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations. The United Nations, the UN. They consult the United Nations of the world. They advise the United Nations of the world. Now look at this. The Lucius Trust's publishing company was founded in the early 1920s as Lucifer Publishing Company. The Lucius Trust says that the name was probably chosen to honor Lucifer. What on earth does a modern day consultant to the most powerful and progressive force engaged in uniting all nations under one banner, the UN, have to do with the fallen angel of the Holy Bible? Chosen few. What is Freemasonry? What is the most secret yet most powerful religion in the world? Well, that's easy. We live in an evil, evil world. So there's only one religion that befits it. Freemasonry is Satanism in disguise. Supreme Council for 33rd degree. That's the highest degree in Freemasonry, and written by the undisputed heavyweight champion of modern Freemasonry, Albert Pike. On page 321, he boldly states, Lucifer, the light bearer. Strange and mysterious name to give to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, son of the morning. Is it he who bears the light? Doubt it not. Freemasonry stating the same thing. In the Lost Keys of Freemasonry on page 76, when the Mason learns that the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mystery of his craft. The seething, surging energies of Lucifer are in his hands. Do you see? The world's hidden religion, with its universal one-eye symbolism, who was revealed slowly and by degrees only to its dedicated members, is Satanism, or Luciferianism as they prefer to call it. Also love to repeat, like parrots, that Freemasonry is not a religion. Well, what does the Freemason of the century have to say about that? From this book, he writes, Masonry is essentially a religious order. Not just a little bit religious, but essential. And here, the iconic giant of Freemasonry says in Morals and Dogma, every Masonic lodge is a temple of religion, and its teachings are instructions in religion. So please, sit down, Masons, because Freemasonry is a religion. And soon, I'm going to tell you what it's really called. True. This is the symbol of Satanism. And this is the symbol of the lodge of female Freemasonry called the Order of the Eastern Star. Look at that. Satanism, Freemasonry. Trust your eyes. This is the symbol of the Church of Lucifer, founded by a 33rd degree Freemason, which I'll prove. Look at the Masonic squaring compass in the design. The Church of Satan and Lucifer, two sides of the same coin, nurtured and brought to an organized international level of power and influence by Freemasonry, in secret, and all done right under our noses. The celebrities usually cover one eye, or hide it in some way, and obscure it, or emphasize it like this. or they close one eye, or peek through it, through this hand gesture, all to highlight one single eye. It's called the all-seeing eye. Other times they'll just display a drawn eye somewhere or a tattoo of it. The other method they use is what's commonly known as the hidden hand. Here, for example, River Phoenix is doing both, the hidden hand and the all-seeing eye, so you can see the direct connection between the two. But in the political world, usually it's done with the hidden hand. And of course, this. Mocking us, sometimes to our face with their symbolism, while we respect them, admire them, and sometimes even love them and idolize them. All of them partaking in the same initiation rituals to belong to the secret society, a prerequisite for success, to belong to the religion that gives you everything you want, everything your heart desires. Freemasonry and Satanism are intertwined. Look at these Masonic politicians throwing up the devil's horns. George W. Bush. Look how sneaky and sinister the look on his face. One eye symbolism of Freemasonry, the eye in the triangle, and the sign of silence. So she's a member. And behold, an inverted cross in her music video, inverted cross on her outfit, and a satanic pentagram on this outfit, just like the symbol of female Freemasonry. You think none of these Freemasons look like witches? Really? And here's the Queen leaving a very special hospital with a very special nurse. And this was the Queen's father, fully dressed in his Masonic regalia, and that God-forsaken apron they wear, which also hides something, just like the square and compass. In fact, what the apron hides is what the square and compass really represents. And it's staring you right in the face. Can you see it yet? Prince Charles, his visit to Cape Town Lodge. And what about this guy? Prince Philip, husband of the Queen. Do you remember him saying this? Yeah, and here's the article in case you think he didn't. Initiated member. Do you slowly see what the Masonic mindset is? We are beneath them. And the crazy two inverted crosses of Christ and the pentagram. And what about Elon's mother? Of course, all members of the secret society. Most of us who never even knew it existed. Blink-182, initiated member with some of his secret brothers from the lodge. Vow of silence. Sign of the devil. Cyndi Lauper, all-seeing eye. Vow of silence. The sign of the God of this world. Christian Bale, who thanked Satan at an award show, doing the sign of the master of the second veil, the hidden hand of Freemasonry. Ashley Tisdale, all-seeing eye, social media post, and hanging out with her boyfriend, who proudly wears the satanic cross. You think they belong to the same religion? Of course they do.
Would you like me to show them how the sign of the curse works?
The sign of the curse?
Completely different.
How does it go?
No, not at you people out there in the audience, but this is the difference.
Aim it toward Red China, would you?
This is the sign of the horns. A curse sign, the two fingers extended.
Poker facing with your sexuality. When I was making love to my old boyfriend, I used to think about women sometimes.
Oh, good Lord. I'm sure he was delighted when you told me. Oh, good Lord. I'm sure he was delighted.
And also because she's displaying the Masonic penalty sign, like all these Freemasons. Drew Barrymore, all-seeing eye, vow of silence. And see, the symbol of her secret God. Elijah Wood, one eye, hidden hand of Freemasonry, and the devil's horns. Sammy Davis Jr., the eye of the Freemasons is the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. Because here he is with Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan. So when you see him hanging with other celebrities like Bill Cosby, can you be sure that they belong to the same religion? Sure you can. I told you they don't hang out with the uninitiated. You think the Rat Pack weren't Freemasons? Well, here's their leader, Frank Sinatra, doing the hidden hand. There's another sign they do quite prominently. It's the sign of silence. This is from Richardson's Monitor of Freemasonry again. A finger over the lips. Now these signs are slightly morphed over time, so covering the mouth in a variety of ways is the expression of being bound to secrecy and silence. Silence or death, as Little Wayne here is portraying. Here's the oath. This is the sign you do upon entering and exiting the ritual room while facing the Grand Master. It stands for throat slit. And it goes like this. A continual reminder of where you are and what awaits you if you have a change of heart or rebellious spirit. And here you have the illustrations of the secret handshakes. Look familiar? And this is the sign of the Master of the Second Veil. See? Purely Masonic. Sneaky, sneaky, huh? Why yet? The sign of the devil's horns here, meaningfully placed and done with precise intent, like with all of them. And here teaching her poor children to follow in her footsteps. Truly only God knows how many young people she's perverted in her career, all orchestrated by Freemasonry. Here's the founder of the Church of Satan again, Anton LaVey, showing the horn sign. The horned god of the witches, as illustrated by Una Woodruff in her book Witches. And here, with a member of the Agora sect of Hinduism partaking in a ritual of the oldest religion of the world. She's drinking blood here from what? A human skull. Sound familiar? That's right. It continues to state in the hierarchy of demons at the very top, Satanakya, whose title is the Commander-in-Chief. What did Bob Dylan, the Freemason, call the one he made a bargain with?
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
Same title, Commander-in-Chief, Chief Commander. Are you following? But watch. When people like Lady Gaga cover one eye while wearing an inverted cross, and you don't see the connection of the one eye symbolism to Satanism, then your observational skills have been compromised. In the span of 2 days, I saw these ads in my local shopping centre. And that alone tells me that the satanic age is here, manifesting all around us, seemingly invisible, while you look straight ahead through the symbols. Just like the initiation process of the secret societies themselves, society at large must be incrementally introduced and seduced into further depravity and self-love. And haven't we been slowly but surely perverted over time? In the corner from the White House, he was called the Grand Commander, Sovereign Pontiff of Universal Freemasonry, a giant of this secret society, the only Confederate general who has his own statue. And who were the Confederates? The dudes that fought for slavery, not against it, defeated by Abraham Lincoln, who was surrounded by these Freemasons, and who was assassinated by this one, John Wilkes Booth, doing the same sign of the Master of the Second Veil. A Freemason assassinated Abraham Lincoln. Undisputable when you have the eyes to see. Now, out for short, it'll all come together and make sense really soon. Here it is hidden in plain sight at the Australian MTV Awards. And this is the MTV headquarters, by the way. Trust me, there's no doubting this. Here's the same eye in a pyramid on a crowded house logo. Yes, initiated Freemasons. Here's the eye on the Harbour Bridge for a New Year's Eve gig. And I wonder what that eye could be referring to. Here's the eye of Lucifer in the Nickelodeon channel, and his lightning flash. Remember what they actually believe about Satan. From Freemason Helena Blavatsky's book, The Secret Doctrine, meaning the secret belief. Who is Satan? He is the angel who was proud enough to believe himself God, brave enough to buy his independence at the price of eternal suffering and torture, beautiful enough to have adored himself in full divine light, strong enough to still reign in darkness amidst agony. Helena Blavatsky is suggested as recommended reading by the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry right here. The God of Mr. Disney is wicked. See how they veil evil with a cloak of innocence? What does the word veil itself conceal? Secondly, Walter's God is horny, symbolized by the horned god of the witches. And we all know Walt Disney loves magic, which is witchcraft. So the depictions of sex are hidden in plain sight as well. Remember, lust produces life, not love. So lust is purity, lust is love, for the high degree Freemason. And thirdly, he hides the number of his God's name in the open as well. No, that's not a 666 he's seeing interwoven in the design. That would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? Not even when they separate the sixes from the name, all three of them, and place them together for you like this, in plain sight.
Through subliminal messages in Disney movies. I understand that you may not believe this, but when you look into who is making these movies and you see the fruits of their labor, it all makes sense. Walt Disney was a Freemason obsessed with the occult and used his movies and his theme parks as a tool to indoctrinate the public into his beliefs. Club 33 in the Disneyland parks is symbolic of the 33rd degree of Masonry. The symbolism is also put into the Disney movies. In the Dumbo movie, after getting drunk, Dumbo and the rat have lucid dreams that contain satanic, Luciferian, and Illuminati symbolism. Disney also displays its corrupt satanic agenda through programming of their idols. They introduce innocent stars that slip under parents' radar and build up a fan base. As the idols get older, they corrupt them and send them on a crash course in a dragnet plot to drag some of their fans down with them. Examples of this are Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, and Christina Aguilera. I know the 666 in the Disney name is hard for some people to accept.
Did you know that Disney movies are filled with subliminal messages? Subliminal messages. Now, what are we talking about tonight? Sorcery. What are we talking about tonight? Getting inside your mind and messing with you, controlling your thought process by supernatural means or demonic means. Or hey, I'm going to tell you something. Disney movies are filled with subliminal messages. And you say, oh, that's a hoax. Filled with subliminal messages. Let me give you some examples. The Lion King, filled with subliminal messages. Okay, all throughout the movie, there are pornographic pictures hidden in the movie. Like you'll be watching a movie, and just for a few seconds, something filthy will come on. Like off to the side, there'll be some kind of a, reproductive anatomy will pop up, over here, and then over here. There's this one point where the lion, he kind of goes like this, and a cloud of dust comes up and just spells the word sex. And the word sex is put in the Lion King movie subliminally, literally hundreds of times. Hundreds of times. The shapes on the screen will spell the word. And I've seen it. And I mean, once you know it's there, you hear it just as clear as day. But you didn't know that it was there, you wouldn't hear it. And The Little Mermaid has a filthy picture drawn in the cover on the front of The Little Mermaid. And nobody would realize it until somebody shows you and says, look at this. And you look at it, whoa! And all throughout the movie there are scenes, I'm not even going to describe some of the scenes in The Little Mermaid, where subliminal messages are coming on the screen. The other movie, Beauty and the Beast. There, a nude woman pops up a few times in the background of Beauty and the Beast. Filled with subliminal messages. Your kids are watching it and their mind is maybe not even seeing it, but it's going into their subconscious. Words flashing on the screen. Over and over, sex, nudity, filth, all the smut is just coming on the screen. Oh, those movies are harmless. They're filled with subliminal messages. Who knows what your kids are being programmed? Oh, but you know what? I'm sure that it's only just the Disney movies. I'll guarantee you it's the rest of Hollywood probably doing the same thing. And these Disney movies, at first when I was a teenager and somebody showed me this, I thought it was just a couple movies, a couple scenes, but as time has gone on, I've realized that virtually every Disney movie is packed with hundreds of subliminal messages to program the minds of your children.
Different kinds signifying different grades. Have you guessed what it's hiding yet? The genitals. Pretty obvious. Like everything else they hide, once you can see. The genitals are the true working tools of a Mason. Freemasonry is foundationally a sex cult, like Satanism. Because it all starts with sex, doesn't it? Life itself starts with sex. So the mystical force of the true God of Freemasonry hides in the hidden part of the human body. That's the Holy of Holies, covered by the Masonic apron, the seat of God, the seat of Lucifer. See here with Satanist King Diamond's artwork? The eye is attached to the horn god. But look at where the eye starts, from the waist down. That's where the apron of a Mason begins. And the one eye of Freemasonry is also the one eye of the penis, where life generates and springs forth. See the openly hidden secret? Satanism was the oldest religion in the world, and it is. The sex act was ritualized and organized as a religion before we called it Satanism. But Satan has always been the god, the horny god, the horned god of these sex cults. All of them, from Samaria to Egypt to Greece and so on. That's called paganism. And the real Bible of the Freemasons and the pagans, the one not written by hand, the one that's older than any book, the one that supersedes all the rest in age, thus making it the purest and most You're looking at the sex act. That's the female in missionary position, and that's the male mounting her. The sex act. And the eye in the middle, with these emanating rays, is the orgasm and the ejaculation of the penis. See life shooting forth. That's how they see the sun and the earth too. The sun is the visible penis of their true God, shooting forth life continually. The light itself is the mystical sperm of the God of this world. The sun and penis generate life, while the earth and female womb produce life. The letter G, when replacing the I in the middle of the square and compass, stands for generation, sexual generation. The practical aspect of Freemasonry and Satanism's religion is that of a sex cult. sex and debauchery, erections, the adoration of the phallus, masturbation, devils, demons, fallen angels. This one here, mocking holiness, reference to the anus. This one. And when I bumped into it, I thought it was a fake. Until I found this. In Richardson's Monitor of Freemasonry. Official Masonic literature. Written for Masons only. On this page. What is that head doing there? You'll find out in a sec. Let's read the description of the apron worn in this degree. Speaking of the initiates, it states, they wear white aprons sprinkled with blood red and lined and bordered with black. On the flap of the apron, a bloody arm holding a dagger, and on the apron, a bloody arm holding a bloody head by the hair. Now this is why there's an illustration of a decapitated head, and this is going to become to a bone-chilling conclusion. So during this ritual, the candidate removes the blindfold and discovers a basin of water with a tumbler beside it. He is also astonished to find a human head lying on the floor. The master of ceremonies returns and directs the candidate to take up the knife in his right hand and the head in his left. Yes, this pope, this rock star, this pop star, this actor, this actress, and this beloved Prime Minister. This is what they've done. All of them, hands down. That's the world at large. And here, from this old ritual book written by the same legendary author, in the 33rd degree initiation, the Mason drinks wine from a human skull, which has been the cause for a few to leave Masonry, because they wonder, whose skull is this? In the 30th degree, part of the ritual involves stabbing skulls. Illustrated right here. The process of submitting the member further and further involves things like this. See, the candidate who's seeking admission into the next degree to receive more light has to be humiliated and intimidated. This is Jay-Z inside his Masonic lodge. You could see the Masons in aprons in front of him. This is where Jay-Z takes his sick oaths of silence, kneels down in front of other men, and calls them most worshipful master, an appalling title to give to a man on this planet. Jay-Z the Freemason writes songs like this. This one's called Lucifer. And in Empire State of Mind he writes, Jesus can't save you. Life starts when the church ends. Here's a shot of Jay-Z's clothing line, purely Masonic, The Craft. Well, this is the craft he's referring to. This is him with well-known witch, Marina Abramovich, also showing her sign of allegiance to Freemasonry. Now here we go. Here's Jay-Z wearing a most revealing top and the dead giveaway that you need to see behind the curtain of Freemasonry. Do what thou wilt. Do whatever you want. That's the adopted motto of the most notorious Satanist of the 20th century, 33rd degree Freemason, Aleister Crowley. Here is his certificate. Their secret is, it's sublime. The secret I'll reveal to you. Now just quickly, here's Freemason Kanye West. Here he's giving the Masonic grip to his brother Mason Jay-Z. Look at the lapel he's wearing in this picture. It's the same double-headed eagle as on the front cover of the so-called Bible of Freemasonry, Morals and Dogma, written by the Grand Commander Sovereign Pontiff of the religion that Kanye and Jay-Z have been sworn into and thus granted access to international success. His Christian conversion isn't what it seems, and you'll soon see what job he has to do. Now look at what else Freemasonry thinks of the uninitiated, from the words of the Grand Commander himself. The truth must be kept secret, and the masses need a teaching proportioned to their imperfect reason. Lastly, to drive this business of blood sacrifice home, here's American rapper Azealia Banks with the 666 hand sign, and now over the all-seeing eye in her video, the eye in the triangle of the Freemasons on her shirt, and the devil's horns, her liberator, her master, her commander. And now displaying the secret society vow of silence, along with that, the last brief glimpse into the highly concealed royal art of Freemasonry.
The amount of crap that's about to come off my floor right now, guys. Oh my god. 3 years worth of brujeria. Yes, you know I gotta scrape all this shit up.
And what does brujeria mean? You know what it means. Witchcraft. Azealia Banks, the witch, with her eye in the triangle shirt, and the logo of, for example, the Grand Lodge of Freemasonry in Spain. One and the same symbol. The logo of the Fraternity of the Freemasons and the logo of this Church of Lucifer. The one eye. One and the same symbol. If you think that doesn't prove anything, here she is with her new tattoo. It says Solve Coagula. Also a song title by fellow Freemason Marilyn Manson. And where does it come from? Here, the Baphomet. The image of Lucifer as conceptualized by another Freemason, Eliphas Levi, in his book, The Doctrine of Transcendental Magic. This horrid thing, with breasts, a penis, and a goat's head with 2 horns, has these words written on its arms, Solve Coagula. The impact of the meaning of these 2 words should disturb you to soberness when I tell you about them. Because apart from other things, the highest degree of Freemasonry, right here. Here's a couple of them now. And what's on this Templar's head? From the Masonic Encyclopedia, remember? A symbol of the Baphomet, according to 33rd degree Aleister Crowley. And we can confirm that in the Satanic Bible. That's exactly what's hiding deep inside of Freemasonry. I'm only showing you this to show you the reality of Satanism and the demonic realm of the president. Here's a portrait of George Washington doing the sign of the Master of the Second Veil, and here, Freemason, before and above president. And if you think that's just by chance that they put the word Freemason above president, then here, read this genuine quote from Harry Truman. This should tell you how deep the consequences of Masonic initiation go and what lies deep within. It's Freemasonry above everything else. There's the Queen showing her allegiance over and over. This is England's Secret Service logo for MI5 with the word intelligence being symbolized by the eye of Lucifer, who was viewed as the most intelligent entity in existence by the secret societies. And this is the symbol for the Information Awareness Office. You know exactly who's in control. And now you know exactly what they want. And they will get it. In a 1962 article written by former US President and Freemason's wife, Edith Roosevelt, in the New Hampshire News, and speaking of the spiritual counterpart building for the United Nations, called the Temple of Understanding, she writes that the symbolism planned for the building dates back to the black magic practiced by the high priests of ancient Egypt, and that the building will contain a giant eye. You don't have to wonder why now, because you know why. This clothing designer is fully aware that the one-eye symbol is synonymous with Satan and hate. Does this movie poster make any more sense to you now? Well, ladies and gentlemen, in 2021, like the smartphone or the smartwatch, this is called the Smart Guillotine. Built by Chanel. You know, the perfume and clothing and accessories brand for the rich. What on earth does a perfume company have to do with chopping? Well, I thought I told you that all of this is just the tip of the iceberg. I wonder who really owns Chanel. Well, here's their logo, and there is an eye in the design. And have you seen their drip design? How odd. Welcome to the real world. You ready? Now that you've seen how actual and bona fide the reality of 666 is from their own mouths and symbols, let me show you where else it's revealed. Do you see these Roman numeral numbers down here? They add up to 1776, the year that America officially became the country we know of today. And also the year of the birth of another secret society, which was absorbed into Freemasonry after it was banned in 1785. But look, the base numbers. M is 1,000, C is 100, and X is 10. All you have to do is subtract the base numbers. 1776 minus 1,000 minus 100 minus 10. Or simply remove the Roman numerals which represent the base numbers. No, I'm not playing tricks on you. Neither are your eyes. But someone else is. Now that you've seen the prevalence and seriousness of this horrid number, now that you've seen what you've seen, I can show you where else it appears. This figure is represented by the numbers. To make this work, they had to remove the number 1 altogether and separate the 2. Of course, we'd be too dumb to pick up on it. But 789 minus 456 is this, multiplied by this lonesome 2. That's right. This dark and mysterious figure is none other than the long-anticipated Antichrist, the ruler of the Saturnian kingdom. The barcode is the primitive version of the worldwide system that Jesus predicted would revolve around the number of the beast. And as you can see, the base of every single barcode in all the world is 666. No matter if the lines are on the ends and in the middle are elongated or not. Spoken like a true Freemason. And you remember this guy?
A safe place and a dangerous place. We must treat this new world order, this new world of COVID. We must treat this new world of COVID even in our own homes.
So once again, you can see the connection, the relationship. If you still think that this phrase, New World Order, is a conspiracy theory, you're suffering from a medical condition. On the Lucius Trust website, the consultants to the European Union, you find the statement that the New World servers are occupied with the task of inaugurating the New World Order. In the same article, this shocking admission is made. 2/3 of humanity will stand upon the path at the close of this age, and with that, 1/3, or to put it surreptitiously, will be held over for later unfoldment. That's the Lucius Trust. The word Lucius being the replacement for the word Lucifer, who works hand in hand with the EU, the European Union, stating that 2.5 billion human beings are planned. Here's a book written by the founder of the Lucius Trust, the Freemason Alice Bailey, Education in the New Age, where she, educates you about mass population reduction. When a form proves inadequate or too diseased or too crippled for the expression of that purpose, it is, from the point of view of the hierarchy, no disaster when that form has to go. The king of the new one world government. The victors will remain as the seed of the new race to people the new land, for the new sixth great race. This is the race that Luciferian Lady Gaga referred to. All part of the plan. In Threshold to Tomorrow, New Age author Ruth Montgomery writes on page 206 that only those open to the reality of one world will be around to enjoy it. Sounds like another vague suggestion for that the New Age is a trap, and that it is the climax to this epic drama being played out on planet Earth. Now hang on, brace yourself, because I ain't gonna let you down. This is a magazine called The New Age, but if you press rewind, you can find its source. Supreme Council of 33 Degree, Freemasonry. This one stretches way back to 1922. See the twin pillars of Freemasonry? Look, this is 19th century Freemason and New Age pioneer Helena Blavatsky on the cover of this edition. She's the one who wrote that New Age can begin by looking at the first guideline. Because this one's not vague at all. Maintain humanity at under 500 million. That's right, a reduction of at least 7 billion human beings would be necessary for that. This thing cost the equivalent of $500,000 US to build, and the street it's located on is named after it, so that tells you how much reach its creators had. Its presence alone is a disgrace and a declaration of execution to most living people alive today. But let's go on to the fourth clue, as to the spirit behind these monuments. The monuments outlining the Age of Reason. The name R.C. Christian, the so-called person who commissioned the building of these giant slabs, anyone who's versed in secret societies or is a high-ranking member themselves would instantly recognize the pseudonym as a reference to the secret society known as the Rosicrucians, which is just another secret society branch that exists under the umbrella of Freemasonry, which is an extension of all secret societies of the past and is now the mother of all of them. In this Masonic website, Worshipful Master Wynne Westcott urges the Freemasons to consider their status as Rosicrucians. The RC stands for Rosenkreuz. Christian Rosenkreuz is the mythical founder of the Rosicrucian order. And as impossible as it is for me to prove that Thomas Paine himself, the writer of Age of Reason, was a Freemason, he did also write this book, The Origin of Freemasonry. That is the spirit behind the Georgia Guidestones, the satanic spirit. Speaking of the New Age to come, PhD Christopher Hyatt writes in Undoing Yourself, as we moved closer and closer to the well-planned for and long-awaited invocation of the Prime Minister unto the Grand Vicar of... Yes, the very well-planned for and very long-awaited indeed. Do you see what's coming? Mr. Hyde also enlightens us in the fact that opposites do not exist apart from the mind. Evil and good are all in your head. That's why you should brace yourself, because these are the minds creating the New World System. He confirms this. The New Age will require new men of high consciousness and fortitude. All of our present dogma models will crumble. He means the Christian and the Christian social structure will crumble. Those who would survive can do so only by grasping the vision of what lies ahead. The new wave that will carry them into an interesting future. Yeah, where is God and Prime Minister. He openly admits the identity of this man. This Antichrist that most of you still think is a fairy tale figure from a fairy tale book. Prediction by information technology and research advisory firm Gartner, 1/3 of jobs will be replaced by software, robots and smart machines by 2025. That's 4 years away. Google engineering director Ray Kurzweil anticipates that robots will have reached human-level intelligence by 2029. And by 2050, 80% of all jobs will be eliminated by automation. What on earth are you and your family good for then? What do you think the secret society will do to the vile multitude then? The utopia is coming, but it ain't your utopia. You still think that by the measure of the minds of international Satanism, you should be kept around? this excess baggage that the bulk of society has become. One more time, from the consultants to the European Union, from their website Lucius Trust, to prove to you that these people are all working toward and waiting for the world leader. The coming of the Avatar and the advent of the coming one are the keynotes of the prevalent expectancy. You can see how far ahead they plan while we stay ignorant. How do you suppose that they won't achieve the New World Order? The New World Order of combined and systematic movement and effort, the great revolution prepared for by the ages will begin to march. The future is all planned for by them, and the revolution prepared for by the ages is coming, and it'll look like a natural occurring event, or it's a problem. Then attributes blame to others. The population reacts by asking the government for protection and help to solve the problem. The government offers the solution that was planned by them long before the crisis even occurred. This is how the great revolution prepared for by the ages by the Freemasons will begin. Every noteworthy religion is comfortably caught in the Masonic net because they all stem from a lie. Here's the Dalai Lama with a bunch of Freemasons. He just loves hanging out with famous people. But there's no way the Dalai Lama can be a Freemason, right? Well, here he is displaying the hidden hand of the Freemasons next to George W. Bush, a fellow brother. That's right, the Dalai Lama is a Freemason, under an oath of silence and sworn to secrecy. Are you going to wake up now? Here he is with his students in his temple. And what's behind him? This symbol. Can you see? The pyramid with the emanating eye on top, symbolized by a sun, which you know now is the phallus of the god of this world, shooting forth his generative light, his mystical sperm that gives life, and whose one eye transcends good and evil, both of which are just illusions of the mind. Understanding this comes by initiations, and yes, tantric initiations are used in Tibetan Buddhism. Gerald York was the Dalai Lama's emissary, his personal representative to the West, and he was personal friends with 33rd degree Freemason and Satanist Aleister Crowley, who wrote 20 essays named Aleister Crowley, The Golden Dawn, and Buddhism. And he also served as a consultant to the movie Lucifer Rising, the Dalai Lama's representative. See how the eye can also be represented by the sun, caught behind the moon in this movie poster. That's just like the Dalai Lama's logo. And here's a scene from the movie with the Masonic square and compass hidden in plain sight. Look at the symbol of Buddhism, and look at the floor inside every Masonic lodge, symbolizing opposites and equilibrium, which creates life, and where evil is not what it seems, it's necessary. There are in fact 3 sixes in the Google logo, which comes from this occult symbol. Coincidence? And here found in a Masonic lodge, the square and compass symbol appears in the middle of a hexagram, which is a symbol used in the royal art of Freemasonry, witchcraft, as shown in this book. Well, among other things, the hexagram itself can be broken down to quite clearly represent 666. This is a Masonic square and compass designed by the Manal Masonic Lodge, symbolizing world unity. Up the top you find the logo of the United Nations. Well, there are 33 segments in the UN logo, symbolizing the 33 degrees of Freemasonry. See this crop circle here with the Masonic eye on top of the pyramid? I know nothing about crop circles and the phenomenon of them, but I know how many rays are coming off the eye. 33. 33 degrees of Freemasonry. Don't forget that the highest authority of Freemasonry already admitted to be the designers of the pyramidal seal in a 1962 edition of their magazine, The New Age. I've shown you how the inverted pentagram makes for the spelling of the word Mason in the same seal. Well, that same pentagram with the elongated top horns appears here in a European Union logo. An inverted satanic pentagram right in front of our eyes. Here's the European Union building architecturally mimicking the Tower of Babel. That was the very same tower that the God of the Bible destroyed thousands of years ago, according to the Bible, when Nimrod, one of the admitted founders of the original craft of Freemasonry, tried to unite the world under one world government. So this logo and this building design is a clear statement to the God who intervened the first attempt at a world government. 2. Freemasons will make friends with their most hated enemies. They will cross-dress their morals to move closer to their goal. They'll make the English language void of any meaning by turning everything inside out and upside down to camouflage its objectives. They will simultaneously create charities along with the greatest machines to ever destroy the hearts of men, like pornography. They will sell their souls to gain the world. They are a dichotomy, a paradox, a lie that loves to speak the truth and a truth that loves to lie. They are a snake eating their own tail, consuming what they produce. Freemasonry, dressed as heaven, dressed as life. Its God is an angel of darkness dressed as an angel of light. And 90% of its membership is a shield, lost in its symbolism. Freemasonry has become the ally and the opposition. Truth. Education, entertainment, and economics. You're a slave to each one. And Freemasonry is the slave master. Listen to the Grand Pontiff of Universal Freemasonry tell you about it in Morals and Dogma. The blind force of the people is a force that must be economized and also managed as the blind force of steam. You are just blind energy to them, made to be enslaved. This force must have a brain. Who do you think the brain is? Freemasonry is the brain, obviously. And he's saying that we're just the body parts that move to its will.